Hey guys, Victor here. Before we get started with today's episode, I'd like to officially announce that Tech Heads is on Patreon, where you can support the show for as little as $5. It is absolutely not expected of any of you guys to do so, but we really appreciate every penny. This goes towards helping us with the cost of gear, editing, distribution, and keeping us caffeinated. So if you want to show your support, feel free to check us out on patreon.com/techheads. Now on with the show. Tech Heads, back again. On this week's episode, we want to take you back in time, and talk about some deprecated and obsolete technology. We also go deep on the Apple event and show you guys some cool things that we happened across this week on the web. This
4, 3,
is
2,
Tech Heads.
1. So, here we go.
How you all feel tonight?
All right, well, Tech Heads back again. My dog likes to go into belly rub mode, and then sometimes he'll get his head under one of the rolly chairs, and then he'll get his head stuck.
Oh my God.
In between the legs, so it looks like he's about to like choke.
Aww.
I don't want to say we have
Pablo.
I don't want to say we don't have a child-friendly household, because we do, but he's a silly dog. But anyway, Tech Heads back again. In case you just haven't paid attention to the last few episodes or any of the previous episodes, maybe you've noticed that the quality isn't the best, but I think Anna and I decided to ramp up quality production and really invest our time and energy into making it sound a lot better. So what do you think, guys? Do we sound like we're in the same studio together right now? Because we're not. We're 3,000 miles away. But yeah. Yeah, it's funny because Anna right now sounds the same quality to me as she would to you guys normally. But I'm sure I still sound amazing on her end because of my natural radio golden voice. So I don't know. You guys should be able to hear a bit of a difference. I know she sounds good now. And yeah, less over the phone voice quality altogether. So yeah. And it's all thanks to you guys because you keep listening and we keep caring about making these episodes. So yeah, thank you for joining us for another episode. How are you doing, Anna?
I'm good. Yeah, it's like you said, I think it's important to like pay attention to the little details because especially, one thing I noticed when like listening back to our episodes in the car, it really makes a difference when you have a good quality, sound episode. So hopefully this will help too for, our listeners that do care about like accessing our content on the go, not just at home, when it's quiet and you have like a sound controlled environment. But yeah, other than that, we are have some cool ideas down the pipeline. So that should be fun.
That's right.
And yeah, as far as life goes, same old pretty much. How about you?
Yeah, nothing too drastic in the past week, not gonna lie. Pretty chill. I'm definitely hooked on Liquid Death though, so shout out Liquid Death. That's probably the most interesting thing that happened to me this week, just downing an entire 12-pack of Liquid Death.
Yeah, it's been very, very hot. I mean, I think that fall is not like it's only a couple days away, like calendar wise. But here in Florida, it's incredibly awful. Like I can't leave the house without a drink, like a water or I don't know, iced tea or something cold.
Or Arizona.
Or Arizona tea. Yeah. This one is hitting the spot right now.
Very cool. Yeah. Oh, actually, the biggest thing that happened to me this week was that Apple event, I would say. So do you want to tell us what you thought about it?
Yeah. So I didn't watch the whole thing when it was playing out, but I did watch some reviews and I went through the website, to look at like the highlights. Because obviously for me, the thing I cared the most about was the iPhone 13 because I currently have an iPhone 8 Plus. So am overdue for an upgrade, just in terms of performance, battery life, cameras, and all that stuff. So that's the one thing that I paid the most attention to. So based on the specs, like with the A5 chip or A15, I don't know, I get them confused. I think it might be A15. But yeah, based on the specs that I read from the website, battery life can go up to, like, with the Pro Max, can go up to like almost 30 hours, which is incredible. I mean, I can't get 30 hours on my phone right now. No way. So I committed to it. I already pre-ordered a phone, and I'm excited to do the review after like a couple of days after I get it. So that would be fun.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Some
it's fun.
White American shit.
Honestly.
iPhone.
Yoo-hoo. Yeah, I think the only thing we're missing here is be standing in line when they open the stores and just like walk in and then walk out. Remember when they used to do that? Like It was this whole event. People stood in line, and then if you were like the first person in the world to get an iPhone, like everybody clapped and took pictures, and you were like on the front page of the newspaper. Like crazy times. But it's kind of neat to think that those were like cool things happening back in the day. But yeah, this was the second iPhone that I pre-ordered, just to make sure that I got my hands on one. And I'm excited. I mean, like the last one I got was like 4 years ago. So I did get it right after it came out. But eventually I started to see them as just like an instrument that I do need for like, school and just like, personal use. And I mean, I am pretty excited about this new phone, don't get me wrong, but I'm also like, oh, I just want the battery life and a bigger screen, like just I don't know, switch things up. But I'm excited. Yeah, it definitely looks really cool.
Yeah. And you're going to have the, what's it called? Cinematography mode, or what is it called? Cinematic mode?
I think that's what it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks impressive, honestly. I know a lot of people who might be like actual cinematographers and photographers.
Yeah.
They might not be stoked on it because they think it's probably cheap. But, for somebody like me who doesn't really care if it's like not genuine or anything like that, I think it looks really good from the little clips that they showed.
Yeah, same. I think it would be fun to explore that. I am not a very big into like taking pictures and like recording things other than like screenshots, and at the occasional like family event or, like a special occasion. But it will be fun to have that and, take pictures of Augie, or when we travel, at the end of the year. That'd be fun too, because we're going to be driving a lot. So I want to make sure that, I get some cool shots with the phone, because now, I mean, I do have a DSLR camera, but I don't know, maybe I won't even need to take it. We'll see. The cameras look really good, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, I think one of the cool things is the screen size, because I am constantly on YouTube, so it'll be fun to see how much of a better performance or like a better experience that is, because they also said that the screen brightness goes up with the newer models. So that'll be fun. I'm excited to review it after I get it. Yeah.
Right. And the other thing I noticed, well, first let me say this. So I'm an Apple man through and through. I'm Johnny freaking Appleseed. I love Apple, but I don't know. Like, I'm not very excited about their events anymore, especially after this one. And I think it's because of the lack of massive redesign, because that's always the most exciting when they like unveil something that's like a total 180 from what it was before. But I don't know. At the same time, it's fine because I really do enjoy the current designs of everything right now. I think it all looks really good. But that's also like just what gets more people excited, I think. And I think I was expecting that this time, just because of how crazy all of those shots were, like the drone shots, like the cinematography all together, just like it looked way more ramped up than usual. So I thought that that was a good indicator that something massive was going to happen this time around. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't seem to match the vibe. So I feel like I'm stupidly nitpicking everything right now. But I feel like the biggest design was the camera. You know how it's like right here, it's like they're on top of each
They're
other
stacked.
like this.
Yeah.
But now they're diagonal. So it's like, whoa, crazy. Like, that's it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I mean, I feel like some of the magic has, faded, and that's still like Apple's fault, I think, of their own, because, obviously, I don't know, it's a bit weird because, there's like all these expectations that the devices are going to be super innovative year in and out, but obviously that's not really the case. We already know what their game plan is. Like, they essentially refresh their lineup with a few little changes just so they have an excuse to keep charging premium price. So it's, I think I am happy that I waited a couple of years to upgrade, because now I am going to see the difference, going from what I'm used to on a daily basis.
Oh, no doubt.
Right. But like 1 year after the other, probably not so much. So, yeah, I mean, I was honestly, I have to agree with you though. I was a little disappointed by the event because the iPhone was not the first thing on my mind. I was thinking about getting a new iPhone by the end of the year, but I was really looking forward to their new MacBook Pros redesigns, like the M1s, especially the bigger screen. And it doesn't look like it's going to come out this year unless they have another event.
Yeah, well, I think in November they have another event just for the MacBooks.
Oh, do they? Okay, so
Yeah,
they're going to
yeah.
push for the holidays. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that'll be something for
I
us to be stoked about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm super pumped because I really want to get a new laptop. And yeah, I mean, for a very good reason. And that's in line with the recommendation that I'll leave for the end of the episode. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited for that one. That one, I definitely want to make sure I watch live, when it comes out.
Definitely, yeah.
What
Yeah.
did you think other than the iPhone? I don't know if there was a couple of other things there.
Well, I think the watches are just, I think they're kind of done being exciting for now until, like I said, another big redesign. I don't know. iPad minis are just iPhone Pro Maxes too. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. Right.
Yes,
It's true, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad that the iPad minis look like they match everything that's happening with iPhones now and the bigger iPads, or just iPads in general. But yeah, I guess that was one of the last things that needed to match what was going on. So
Yeah.
it's nice that they did that, and it does look kind of cool, but I don't know. There's not many use cases, at least for me, that I would ever enjoy having a new iPad mini, because I already have an iPad mini, and I've used it maybe 5 times.
Right.
Yeah, I used
Yep.
to think like, oh, I'm going to use it for class and, maybe leave the laptop at home, but nah, just it wasn't worth it. And
Right.
I thought I would read on it, and I don't like reading digital books, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
I used to too. I think like when I got my first iPad, that was back in like 2014 or something, so it was like it was amazing to me back then. It was really, really cool. So I did everything I could on it, but obviously, like since then, I got an iPad. Sam got me an iPad early last year, and it helped with school, to like read PDFs and all that stuff, so I could have like the iPad with the book open, and then on my laptop, I used to take notes or whatever and do the homework. But other than that, like I haven't really used it a whole ton, so I don't think it fits in with like my workflow, and what I really need. I mean, I like having, I like having my watch. I like having my laptop, my phone, and then I don't know if I have like anything else. I mean, I have Apple TV, but that's beside the point. Like I think it's interesting because I get it. I feel like a whole bunch of these like tech manufacturers, they're trying to build a whole ecosystem, so like you have multiple of like different products, or like yeah, just like product lines that they develop. So you have like this like sort of like a dependency, and everything communicates with each other. But with Apple, we've known that they've been aiming for that for a long time. I just think that it's not quite there yet. I know that in the last event, they had like some of their, smart home technology products and all that stuff too. So obviously, this was a different event because these are more like personal devices. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting, but like you said, nothing groundbreaking. I'm just hoping that with like the laptops, we see more of a change because I mean, I'm expecting a very high ticket price on the MacBook Pros, like the bigger screens, because it is the M2. And they they tend to be like the higher end laptops, especially if you spec it out. But we'll see. I think that like I get more excited about the computers than anything else. So
yeah, same. I guess the another cool thing that happened was that the iPhone Pro display runs 120 hertz now.
Oh, so yeah. That's right.
That was kind of big. I mean, that's a big jump. And for not, I mean, I guess gaming is probably the simplest use case where it's like, whoa, this is great that it can run 120 hertz now. And other than that, I don't know. I don't think that. Yeah, like I have a 12, so like it's definitely not worth me upgrading. But yeah, if I had a 10, maybe. If I had an 8, for sure. So. Well, also it's the Pro, so like even the new, just the 13 is like cool enough. Yeah. And great enough of an upgrade. So I don't know. So it's all how much money you want to dish out for a phone.
Yeah, exactly. That's ultimately like what it comes down to, And then I think there are like a whole bunch of like with the main carriers in the US, for instance, there are a lot of like incentives to upgrade, because they're giving you like a crap ton of credit. But obviously these phones are not cheap, and like the pros you can get up to like a terabyte of storage, which is pretty cool. But obviously, like for every like going from 256 to like 512, it's like $300. I think the 1 terabyte Pro Max is like $1,600. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'll do fine with the 256 because that's already 4 times the storage that I have right now, and that's one of the issues that I have with my phone. It's it's run out of storage. So I'll be like, no, I'm fine. I mean, other than like screenshots, like I said, I stream music. I don't store anything else on it. So, I can just like do the like clean out apps and delete like cache data, like if I don't use any of it. But yeah, it can get super expensive. And I feel like, I mean, that's a luxury. Like, I mean, obviously there's a scenario where they thought that would be suitable for like having that much storage on a phone. But I don't even have that much on my laptop. So yeah, I mean, maybe someone like if you do store a lot of media, that you can run out of space real quick. So I get it.
Yeah. And at this point, like they're not cell phones anymore. They're like, it's just way more than that. It's kind of like you're carrying a digital version of yourself in your pocket. So I think that's like kind of the argument with like how people just can't even comprehend the idea of spending that much money on just a phone, because it's not just a phone. It's a great camera. It's a little computer. It's like it's something you can create on. It's something you can do more than what you would do with calling and texting. Like you can even you could even code on them now. It's just like it makes sense that they are getting this expensive because the ability to do all of those things is actually at this point where they're great. Because like the earlier iPhones, like you could go in Safari and do whatever, and you could run apps and stuff like that. But like, this was all early years, so it was never at this level where it was justifiable to spend so much money on it. So I feel like back then the price point was pretty fair. So yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is that it makes sense that they're this expensive because there's so much time and everything put into making them run well.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and all the people who have to work on them now to get them to this level. So I don't know. It is kind of crazy that we're at this point in our lives where iPhones are this good and they're only going to get better, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do something with the design. Maybe that'll be a little more fun. Bring out the child in me, excited to see what Apple announces. I guess that's a little selfish to say when I think about it like that. That how dare they not excite us with the new design? Like it works. So I don't know. So we'll see what happens in November.
Right, exactly. And I think the last thing was, the colorway. I wasn't that impressed about the colors that they chose for the Pro Maxes, but I did decide to go with a Sierra blue. So we'll see. Maybe I'm going to be super impressed when I get it in person.
Yeah, I like my blue one. It's not Sierra blue, obviously, but it's...
I love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted that one, but I think they only had the darker blue for the 13, not the Pros. So I was like, well, I guess I'll wait for the next one, but I'll just go with the Sierra. And you can always put a case on it. That's what I immediately do anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all good.
I'm weird because I like to take my case off at home.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I never get to actually look at how... I like the design of my phone. Like, I never get to see it when the case is on it. I don't know. I like to feel the texture behind it and everything. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess it's like when you get home.
You have a
put
screen
on
protector?
Yeah, I do. It's already cracked.
That's its purpose.
Yeah, not the screen itself though. So thank you for screen protectors.
Right.
Yeah. With that though, do we want to talk about what we're talking about?
Yeah, so I think it was like last week, I was scrolling through Reddit and in the CS career questions subreddit, I love reading the posts on there because they're like, senior developers, juniors, people breaking into the industry, asking for advice on how to break into the industry. And this junior developer that was working at a startup mentioned that he was frustrated with his position, at the company because of lack of support, and he briefly mentioned on there that he was working with Angular JS. So I went to the first reply to that post and saw that this developer said, well, first of all, you should not be working, your company should not be working with Angular JS because it's being deprecated by the end of 2021. And I was a little like, oh, no way. Like, okay, that doesn't, there has to be an explanation for that. Like it's Angular JS. I thought that was like, it's like the biggest competitor with React. So I did a little bit of research and yes, that is the case. Angular JS is being deprecated, but it's just making way for Angular 2, which has already been around for a little bit. So that's where we decided to talk about, deprecated and obsolete technologies because we take for granted what is popular now, but we don't think about what they, took the place of. Obviously, technologies have been built on the back of other technologies. And, they have just gotten better, have been optimized for the times and what we currently have the tools to work with. So I was like, why not go through, some popular technologies from back in the day and then see what happened there, like why did they cease to be, basically.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool idea. Definitely different than what we usually do for episodes. So I was stoked to do this, but I was like, can you give me some reference points on like the time frame,
Yeah.
what we're talking about? And luckily, like the things that I was already looking into, she sent. So I was like, oh, perfect. Okay. So yeah, we already just brought up Angular JS. So one thing you kind of breezed over that confused me, like very, very recently, like I just didn't understand because I have never been an Angular guy. But
Yeah.
yeah, Angular JS is not to be confused with Angular, just like you said, because Angular JS is JavaScript based and Angular is TypeScript based. It's kind of that simple. But yeah, I was confused because I was like, oh, but Angular's around. I used them interchangeably. I had no idea. I guess I was just being a noob about it. I just didn't understand. And
Right.
yeah, so yeah, you said it's gonna be deprecated in 2021 December, right?
Yeah, December. It's
Yeah.
no
Well,
longer going to be supported.
right. Well, this is scary for like thousands, if not millions, of apps out there because
Right.
they're going to be like more susceptible to security breaches since no one is going to be there to like patch the holes up at Google, and
Right.
and even like the majority, I'm sure all of them, but let's just to be safe, the majority of those apps they also use Angular JS like libraries, so those aren't going to be maintained anymore either. So it's just going to be like a domino effect eventually, and
Right.
there's going to be less references and places online to look for how to fix these things because nobody's going to be patching new issues. So yeah, it's a little interesting. Like, what's the best thing to do in this situation?
Exactly. And I think, it's important to distinguish, the fact or kind of like the life cycle or the actual events that take place, like when, a technology like that is announced by the developer that is, going into like deprecation phase or they're phasing it out, it's being sunsetted. So like in the deprecation, phase, it's still in circulation, let's say. Because the developer, in this case, Google with Angular JS, they know that a lot of companies, a lot of businesses, have used that framework for a long time. So they will, go through this process where they're actively, informing through their documentation and, like their portals that they can, and their channels that they'll no longer, support the, or they'll no longer like release any new versions of the framework, and, try to fix bugs and patches and all that stuff. But that's in preparation for like the software developer that is using that framework to start thinking of what they're going to do to deal with that in terms of like transitioning to a different stack. So the support for AngularJS ends at the end of this year, but that means that if you still want to build an app using it, you can. It's just that there might be security vulnerabilities and other things that come up in the future that will not be fixed by Google. And then eventually what will happen is, because Angular 2 is already in use, the TypeScript version of Angular is going to take place of that. It'll be like the actual supported version by Google, and eventually, yeah, AngularJS is just gonna be an obsolete technology that is not going to be in use anymore, because if you're a full stack web developer, why would you use a technology that has been deprecated? You can't fix anything. If you spot like an issue with it, you can't fix it. You can expect the developer of that framework to fix it. So you need to start taking into account that you need to change your stack. Basically, that's how the technology world works. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think this is, definitely for the better. I think Angular is way more popular this day and age anyway, and TypeScript is blowing up like crazy and has been blowing up. So I don't think this will be a big deal for big companies to just migrate over if they want to just maybe not do a whole new stack, but maybe integrate Angular into what they were using with Angular JS. So maybe that's the best solution. The only time I've ever had to migrate anything was on a totally different level. It was just they had their old website on like Wix or something stupid, and they're like, can you migrate it to WordPress? So like I basically just cloned it. So that's the only other time I've really had to migrate anything. But I honestly could not imagine just like having a whole app and then somebody saying, sorry, gotta choose something else. It's like if somebody like if I don't know, one of my old boot camp projects, it was it's in just JavaScript. If somebody's like, do the whole thing in TypeScript again, I'd be like, I mean, it'd be fun, I guess, but I'm just saying like an enterprise level sort of project would be just like crazy. I can't even imagine that. So we salute you developers going through that right now. And
I know.
Rest in power, AngularJS.
Yeah, I mean, a really popular stack, at least full stack, is the mean stack, which we know that uses, AngularJS as the front end framework. But it could be, like you said, not that complicated for a team that has already been familiar with Angular 2 to be using or to, make way for or remove, AngularJS and transition to Angular 2. So that all depends on like the current like setup, like the how the company basically plans out what they're going to be doing, and like the software strategic decisions and all of that. So I think it's obviously like in the case that I brought up that we kind of like came up with the idea to discuss this. It was a startup, so obviously a startup probably means that it's a company that, has not been around all that long. I mean, it could still be a couple of years, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this whole conversation about, because I think Angular 2 has been around for a little bit. So that immediately kind of like triggers your mind to think that they're going to phase out AngularJS if they are already releasing another, framework of the same name by the same developer. It gives you hints that eventually, the former is going to be deprecated. So I don't know. I'm not going to judge, but maybe that was a careless decision when they decided to go with AngularJS instead of just going with a newer framework. But these are things that happen. I mean, obviously React is like all the rage. It has been around for a long time, but it's not impossible that React will eventually be, React.js will eventually be deprecated. Like it can make way for something else, like in 10 years or I don't know, I'm sure that, Facebook has an idea of what they're going to be doing. So it's one of those things where it's ever evolving, just like a lot of other fields, the automobile industry, like you see cars with technologies that are no longer around anymore. Like, the manual, like window, like they have to roll up and down, like to open the window. I mean, you might see that in a very few cars nowadays, but that's not really something that's common. So like that is, a depreciated technology at best. Eventually it might even become obsolete because you just like count on like the different standards, that people expect with a certain product. So it's just like the natural course of, I think, technology itself. Like things just evolve, So it's I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, there are a couple of other examples that we have as well.
Which is probably one that everybody's familiar with, like even if you're not even a developer whatsoever. I think over 1 billion computers have had it installed on the machine, and that thing that we're talking about is Adobe Flash Player. I can't even do it without clapping. It's
I know,
almost like
right?
a meme, like seeing that window pop up and saying like,
Yes.
"Oh, you need to update Adobe Flash Player."
Uh-huh.
And I
Oh,
never
man,
even knew what
I
it was
remember.
for.
Yeah. I know. I remember, I think I still had, like, I had Adobe when I was still like in dial-up days, or, DSL, or, like those good old days. But yeah, it's something that I think everyone has been, has seen at least at some point if you've surfed the web. And yeah, so that one, is another example of
Yeah.
a deprecated or obsolete technology. I think now it's not even around anymore.
Yeah, it reached EOL back in 2020, so it's completely done. It even says if it does
Right.
pop up now, it'll say you should uninstall this right now because there's so many
Right.
security vulnerabilities in it. And for people maybe who like remember it and remember seeing it all the time, but just didn't understand what it did, it was used for streaming and playing video and audio and multimedia content, basically. And I don't know. It was weird. Doing digging into for this episode, I never realized how complicated it was to develop something in Adobe Flash
Yeah.
Player, because there were like you could use like other Adobe things to make it. I don't remember the whole names, but there were like 5 or 6 Adobe softwares that you would use to develop something for Adobe Flash Player. And
Oh,
I
wow.
think that, yeah, super like old school weird. And I think that methodology just got really outdated, that you shouldn't have to do that whatsoever. You can do everything and more nowadays with just HTML5 or like WebGL or WebAssembly. So like, of course this got phased out like very soon. And
Right.
yeah, it started looking less and less appealing to learn to do anything with Adobe Flash Player. So of course it got, to this point. Yeah, their end of life was back in December 2020. And yeah, also, rest in power, Adobe Flash Player, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing that we won't be seeing probably anytime soon anymore. Yeah, because I mean, if the browsers, announce that they're going to stop running these kinds of apps, then you're probably not going to see it anywhere.
Yeah. But
What
I
other-
should mention that there are enterprise level systems still out there that use Adobe Flash Player, and I don't know everybody's different, but I read that if you want to keep using it, I think you have to contact Adobe, and like I don't know what means of contacting. I don't know if that means email or phone call or what, but I think you can request like a version that's safe to use. I guess I don't know how that's possible because like of the security vulnerabilities. But I read somewhere that like there are systems out there that still use it, and they requested to continue using it because they're so reliant on it. And I guess they're so confident that it's not gonna have anything that breaks or anybody hack into it. I don't know. Like I said, every system's different. So, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that people still do choose to use it for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the
That's
next
cool.
one is Java Applet, which I heard about before we decided to do this episode. I think I had just heard about it in passing on the internet somewhere, and I was like, oh, I've never even heard of that. Like, have you ever experienced a Java Applet?
No, I don't think so. Because it says that it's when like the Java, when Java is used on the browser, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's related to any. No, that's not what we were talking about earlier. But no, I don't think I have ever seen this before. Oh wait, no, I think I might have. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just getting confused because obviously the Java logo like looks super familiar after, all these years of like doing, some sort of like computer interaction and work. That I actually might have seen it before, but I don't know. I mean, like let's say you're going to like going through a tutorial or what's it, onboarding for a new job, and you have like those pop-up screens, going through like your HR courses and all that stuff. I honestly feel like it might have been something like that. Not anytime, like it hasn't been recent, but way back in the day, I think I might have seen this before. Yeah.
That's one of the things that comes to mind for me too. Like, or even like a children's learning, like when you were a little kid in school, they'd be like, okay, hop on that little computer over there, and it's like, like early 2000s, and you're just like clicking through these little things. I imagine like that was used Java applets, so
that's pretty possible. Yeah, like when it played online, like little games. I remember when I was in middle school, I was always like playing games online with my friends, and like while we were on the phone, we were on the computer and playing and all that stuff. Aww. So it might have been something like that, or that was Adobe Player. Yeah, it was either an applet or it was one of the Adobe ones that got deprecated by now too. Shockwave or Flash Player, one of those.
Shockwave was Chrome, I think, and then all the other browsers used Flash Player. Is that right? I think that's right.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess how they kind of worked was that you could launch them from the webpage. So like you would just like launch it with probably a button that said launch. And then it used a virtual machine to run the actual applet in Java usually. But I mentioned earlier off screen that it could also be written in Jython, which is Java Python, which is interesting. But yeah, Java applets, they reached their end when I think officially in 2017, but around 2013, support for the technology that the applets used to actually run was being phased out by browsers. So yeah, by 2015, they were deemed like completely unstable and unable to run. But yeah, then officially deprecated in 2017. So yeah, rest in power Java applet too. Is that the Halo song?
Yeah, or the Hunger Games one.
Oh, right. Yeah,
they're
right.
similar.
Yeah.
What about this next one? Did you see this one with frames? I thought that this was kind of funny.
No, take me through it. I actually did not.
Okay. So it's not a stack. It's not even a technology. It's an HTML tag that used to be super popular in web design in the 90s. That was the, brackets or the little, HTML tag symbol, and frame or frame set. Those were really common back in the 90s when you were, building your website. And they're no longer part of the HTML standard. Because obviously with CSS now you can make things a lot more functional, and it can influence in a better way like the user experience by using other properties and other types of HTML elements without having to use frames, because first of all they don't even exist anymore. So they were used, I think, to build the scroll bars in the middle of the page. So it's like weird because like if you scroll down in that one section, it just scrolls down all the way down to the bottom of the whole page. So it was a bit of a mess. I think it's kind of like the precursor to the iframe tag though. Now where you can embed, like most of the time, if you go even to YouTube, and you find a video that you want to embed on your own page, you can copy the script and you're going to see that it's an iframe tag instead. So that is the standard that HTML uses. And then, it will embed like that element, like the YouTube player on your page if you want, and a lot of other things as well. But it's very interesting. I didn't even think of something as simple as this as an element. So I thought that was cool. That it's no longer around, but it used to be something that was kind of like probably the industry standard for web design in the 90s.
Just the dude that invented it was like, guys, check this out. Check out this frame. Everybody goes,
it's a frame. Right. Yeah.
And then the iframe dude comes around and just says, get the F out of my way, dude. Check out this iframe. And everybody loses their mind. Yeah,
Right.
I did come across that in prepping for this episode. I didn't take too many notes on it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Super weird that was like necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't think I saw anything else that really like caught my attention in terms of, deprecated or like obsolete technologies, but I am sure that if you're if you're a full stack developer or a software engineer, of other programming languages even, that used to be. I mean, we can throw a couple of names out there now, like COBOL. I mean, there are enterprises that still run on COBOL, and I mean, I don't know if it's still being maintained, maybe, but there are like several like programming languages from like way back in the day that are still around, but they're not, emerging technologies, or they're not really being used to build, future technologies. So I think it's kind of cool. I mean, for instance, I took a class back last year. And one of our modules was about functional programming. I mean, there are a couple of like functional programming languages out there, like Haskell and a couple and other ones. But we had to suffer through RPAL. RPAL, I don't even know what it stands for now, but I swear our professor was like one of the only people on earth that knows how to program in RPAL.
Was his name Professor Deprecated?
Yes, right. Yeah, the nice guy and everything, but I was like, what is the point? Like, we are not going to use this. Maybe it's like to get the idea across of what functional programming is about. But I was like, well, but it would be cool if we could use a language that is currently marketable, like that we can put on a resume, or we could share and like build a project on, because, like with Haskell, for instance, it's something that other people in our day and age use. But no, I guess we decided to go with RPAL, which, has been around for like 50 years, but no one else uses it anymore. So I thought that it was kind of counterintuitive, but I mean, I think the point I'm trying to make is, with tech, obviously you have to adapt. Have to be very, very flexible with what you learn and what you work with, because you don't want your skill set to be outdated. I mean, I've also, like, going back to Reddit, I've seen posts of like folks, like the actual, developers that have been in the industry for like 30, 40 years, but that's, like some of them have a hard time picking up, new languages, or like, languages that are popular now, frameworks and stacks, because they are still working with, a couple of like handful of languages from way back in the day. And it was just a different mindset. It was, different philosophy. So I think like to make sure that your, skill set is relevant, you have to constantly be learning about what's not trendy, but what is relevant to like your field, and like which direction is the industry taking. I think that's very important.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I mean, I haven't personally gone through it like you have, because you're currently a CS student, but I feel like even talking to Robert in one of our early episodes, he mentioned how like the things he was learning just wasn't marketable, and he kind of wishes that he maybe like was learning, things that were a little more newer, not trendier per se, like, because you can't really integrate trendy frameworks into a university curriculum, because it's so hard to get approval, and like by the time it's through, it's already done. So it's like, I get that it's hard, but I don't know, I guess like the whole point is that they want these foundations to be where you can go off on your own and learn more of the new things very easily, as long as you have a solid foundation and understand where it all came from, which I get. But I don't know, what do you think? Like, do you think that some of the stuff you're learning, besides the R path or whatever, because you already mentioned that, but do you ever think like a lot of the things you are learning is like, okay, this is a little too old, I think this isn't gonna really add up? Or
Well, I mean, honestly, like I have taken a lot away from everything that I've learned. A big focus of the whole degree, at least, like the philosophy at UF was placed on C languages, like in the case of C++, like we've used C++ for several classes that are required, to graduate. So all of these students are going through that. So I think it helps in the sense of like developing your programming and your critical thinking skills, like your logic.
Definitely.
But, if you're not like interested in that, let's say you want to become, like a full stack a full stack web developer. I mean, I'm sure that it might help, but you're probably not going to be using C++. Like if you want to, code like a mean stack, like if that's all you want to build, or like mean or MERN stack web apps, like it's JavaScript or TypeScript or whatever it is, that will be the case in the future. But I think there have been, a few times that I was just like, yeah, honestly, this is just busy work, like your guys are just trying to weed students out instead of developing that's why I still have a bit of an issue with the education system, because they have like a consortium, like a board, of industry experts that I think help shape up the curriculum for the industry. So why, not think about like the entire journey of the student and focusing on what they maybe after like 6 months into the degree and being like, oh, did you like maybe you worked on a project and something kind of struck a chord with you. You want to go down that path instead. Do you want to be a software engineer? Do you want to be a full stack developer? Do you want to be a database administrator? Like something like that, So it's I feel like it lacks in that sense because it puts everybody in the same path or in the same pool, and not everybody is going to graduate wanting to do the same thing, So I think it is a bit like it's not selfish, It would have to be like that the degree, is very tailored to each student, and I know they don't have time to do that. But I think that, if in 4 years, you can teach, a person to be a solid developer. But that's if you give them the right tools, the right support, the right direction, like to have them build their projects. And, are most like entry level, mid-level jobs looking for people with that amount of time of experience? Like if you build projects every couple of months for 4 years, you're going to know what you're doing by the end of it. And that's not always the case with the graduates, in any field, not just CS. But I think that there have been things that we definitely just like wasted our time on, unfortunately. I think it was interesting when I took operating systems, but I feel like most of my feeling towards that class was just suffering. It was just suffering through the class because I don't want to be working in that kind of level of software, and I think, it was a bit unnecessary. It's not really taken into account like what our interests are. It's just like, you got to take it. And, it's like, comes down to the money. Like you got to pay for something that you're not interested in. You're going to suffer through it. So it's a lose-lose situation in my book. Honestly, like I think about 80% of the classes I took, I definitely learned a lot. And you can tell the professors were, very, very passionate about what they were doing. They cared about teaching us. The resources were there. A lot of people, like, very interesting people. At least in the benefit that I saw from my program for it being online is that a lot of the students are working, professionals already. So they're there for not to screw around. They're there to like learn. And, if you're working on a group project, everybody pitches in. Like I haven't worked with slackers. So I think I was very fortunate in that regard because, some people that are in the industry already and they know what they're doing. So I think that really helps because you learn not just from the content of the professors, but also the other students. You make some good connections for even after you graduate.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
for the most part, yeah, it's been, a very good experience. Obviously, it's school, so there are like the pains that come with it. But yeah, I mean, I think that it could be different, but I think in some ways it could also be worse.
That's a good way to put
So,
it, honestly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Especially with my short time in college, I kind of had that vibe too with some of the stuff. But yeah, I could see where CS how that definitely has that sense of like not like worthlessness because like there's so much effort and everything involved. But what is it, Sisyphus, the mythological dude that like with the rock he goes up the hill and then it like just goes back down. I don't know, like
I think that's it.
yeah, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a Greek mythology guy, but I don't know. Something about college sometimes when I was in it, it did feel like Sisyphusian, if you want to put it that way. Just like,
Right.
okay, what's the point? What's the point? And I'm not trying to even sound like I think that about life in general. I just think that sometimes like you expect more out of paying all that money to enter the job
Yeah.
force and like also kind of be happy at the same time, because that's also very important to be happy with what you're doing. But I don't know. Yeah, you're allowed to be disappointed in what you're learning sometimes. But yeah, what you said earlier, I think is the best way to put it. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think, I mean, you and I think I'd probably say that we're good, like optimistic people. I always try to see things at least like, as the glass is half full instead of half empty. But yeah, I mean, it's just like the ups and downs, like the school stress that I think most people have already experienced. Like sometimes you just feel discouraged, but then just like step away, or ask for help, or like kind of you just have to keep pushing. I think that some of the classes that's definitely the case. But it's also, a bit of a metaphor for like life in general. Not every single phase of your life is going to be, dreamy and like, a bed of roses. You're going to have your trials and tribulations. You just have to keep pushing through. So the cool thing I think about tech is that if you can be as self-sufficient as you want and as autonomous as you want. But, the online community, although you have like your bad apples, most of the time you're going to come across people that are willing to help you out. And I think that that's really cool. So, I don't really see that kind of like sense of camaraderie, I think, in other areas. And I think that is one of the reasons why, I still enjoy what I do, because I've made, some good friends with school and work. And I feel like, I've only met like a lot of good people willing to help and share their knowledge. So I think that that's really cool.
yeah, I definitely vibe with the tech people. I love them,
Right.
honestly, for the most
Yeah.
part. Everybody's so like just so nice and friendly,
So fun.
and nerdy,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
very very similar interests. With me at least. I feel like I definitely enjoyed these people more. Not to say everybody else
Right.
sucks, but I think I think the tech people are my type of people. So yeah, I'm happy to somewhat be involved.
Same
With
here.
that though, do you think we can move on to what we're recommending for people?
Yeah. You go first.
Okay, so I came across a little tool that is full of tools for developers. I saw it on Twitter, and it's just called smalldev.tools. And basically what it is a one-stop shop of all these tools that would be, pretty important while you're developing. So like you have your encoders, your decoders, your JSON formatters. You have like compressors, CSS formatters. You even have like the lorem ipsum if you don't maybe have that in VS Code already. You can convert HTML to Markdown, SQL formatter, HTML formatter. Like all of this is all on one single page. So you can just have this, as a tab open while you're developing and be like, I need to format this. I need to maybe get my README sorted and ready to go. And
That's so cool.
yeah, it's just a cool little tool. I thought cool tool.
Yeah, that's neat. I'll have to check it out. So mine's a little different. It's a hardware. So I've been complaining about being out of storage for I don't know how long now. You know, we were talking about the iPhone earlier, and you know, even I've had to get like an external USB drive for my laptop because I ran out of storage, and I also had to do a Windows partition on this computer. So obviously I was like desperate for, you know, for storage. And I've been looking into, this is kind of like a recommendation, but also, you know, if anyone wants to like reach out and recommend anything, that'd be really cool. But I've been looking into NAS, you know, network attached drives or storage. And I came across this one called Synology. And it's it's like a, you know, a NAS device, like a 2-bay NAS device that you can put like 2 hard drives into it. And I don't think that I don't know if there's a limit to what the storage is. Yeah, I think I saw it. I first saw it in Forrest Knight's YouTube channel.
That's right.
And
that's where I saw them. Yeah.
Yeah, I started looking into it. So basically, it has a 2-bay, you know, hard drive structure, and it doesn't come with the drives though. So like that's one thing you have to keep in mind. This one that I was looking into was about like was around the $200 mark, but you have to buy the hard drives yourself. It only comes with the device.
Like a tower, right? Or I don't know. That's not the correct word.
I feel like it's like a mini server, you know. It looks like a mini, like a small factor CPU box,
right.
Very small.
Sure.
And it has the 2-bay, you know, hard drive thing slots because one of the hard drives is redundant. So it's kind of like a fail safe, you know, like if one ends up getting corrupted or it breaks for whatever reason, you have a backup. And I thought that was really cool. And I mean, obviously this one is like, I think in terms of like price points and also an entry point for beginners, this is one of the ones that I saw that was the most recommended. But obviously, like I've seen other ones that you can get like a 10-bay, you know, kind of NAS. And like that means you can have like hundreds of terabytes of storage on there. And but the cool thing is that once you set that up, you're going to connect your Ethernet cable to it, so it's going to be available on your network, sort of like a shared drive, you know. And
I like
and
that.
then and then you don't have to like push things to, you know, to a cloud storage. You get to manage all of your files, you know, because you're the owner of that particular storage or that little server. And you can, I heard that you could even like serve, you know, applications from that, you know, NAS. Obviously it has its like limitations, you know, maybe something a little more capable would be, I think, suitable for whatever use case. Like if you're gonna have like a web app, you know, and a lot of hits and a lot of traffic and a lot of content that you have to serve on the website. But I think that this, like for storage purposes, like if I don't want to flood, I think my local, you know, SSD just to keep my computer as fast as possible, this would be pretty cool. And I think it might be something that I'll explore like in the future, because I feel like, you know, I mean, I have a lot of like school stuff. Some of my programs are really you know, bulky, also media, you know, like songs and images and all that stuff. And I think that it would be kind of cool, like to just have like this storage that I can control, because it also comes with a really cool user interface where you access like the IP address and it kind of looks like a desktop. And
like
you get to like
GUI.
control everything. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It looks almost like the Windows desktop, like when you log in, and you get to like control everything from there. So I think that was really cool. And based on at least like the starting, you know, like the average price point for this, adding like the hard drives, it would still be, you know, a couple $100, but it might be something that I will consider, I think, adopting in the future instead of like having to like, unfortunately, I love Apple devices, but if you don't consider or if you don't, commit to like the storage that you want right when you buy the laptop, I don't think you can upgrade it, right? Like, or can you?
I don't think so. No, yeah. So you're kind of SOL if you
Right.
get one that's not big enough for you. And it would be cheaper, I guess, to get like the smallest one, but then get one of those guys. That's a good rec.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was an interesting one. And it's kind of like having, Dropbox, but it's yours. Like Dropbox, like cloud storage or Google Cloud or whatever it is.
That's awesome. Huh. All right.
Yeah. So that's what I have.
The more you know. I might have to look into that because my computer, I can't even upgrade to the next whatever
OS?
it's called. Yeah, I can't even upgrade to the next OS. I'm probably 2 behind now because they always come out with a new one. I'm like 2 behind and I can't get rid of anything. Like, and I have a terabyte external hard drive and I don't know, like if I move a lot of things over there, which I've done already, and I already have so many backups. But if I move a bunch of things over there, then I have to change the paths to like other things to make it work. Because I always keep the hard drive plugged in, so like I can always access anything in there. But yeah, I'm kind of screwed unless I want to pay for like a SaaS product that will clear it all up for me for things that I definitely don't need. But I also don't trust that because I know I have a lot of packages that I still need. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a sticky situation. So, yeah, you can avoid all that if you maybe get one of these guys. What's it called? Synology?
And yeah, this one is Synology.
That's the company that makes this thing. Okay, got it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Nice.
the type of like device, is a network attached storage.
Very cool, very cool. It's almost like the like in Silicon Valley when they had all those servers in the garage and like made it super, super hot. And people were like, logging on and giving it so many hits that they kept crashing their whole system. And yeah, that was kind of cool. That was a cool way to show that. But anyway,
Right.
do you have any last words, Anna, or do you think we should head out?
No, I think that's all we have. Maybe, we'll come up with something related to like fall or Halloween, sometime soon. So just a quick little boo, we'll have like a scary Tech Heads episode. I don't know how we can make that happen, but we'll figure something out.
Oh, that'd be funny. I guess it wouldn't be worth dressing up because this is audio only, so we can do it just for us.
We can though. Yeah, right.
Very true. If you guys want to support us, we're on patreon.com/techheads, just all one word, techheads. And you can also get the link on my website, because my website's back up in case you missed the last couple episodes, victordebell.com. The link is directly there. I think you can really pledge as much as you want, but I think we only have one tier for now. And it's $5 if you want. That just goes straight towards, editing, gear, production, distribution, keeping us caffeinated, as I mentioned before. We love our coffee and, staying awake. And if we can't stay awake, then we can't make good episodes. So feel free to check us out on patreon.com/techheads. And that'd be super, super appreciated. But don't feel like you have to, because we still appreciate if you even made it this far to listen. And thank you so much, guys. Tech Heads out. So peace. See you next week.
Bye.